They called our generation the missing millions. Missing not because we went anywhere. There's nowhere left to go. Nowhere except the OASIS. It's the only place that feels like I mean anything. A world where the limits of reality are your own imagination.
Hey everybody, welcome to You Have to Watch This podcast. I'm Alan, and this week Ryan couldn't join us. He is a big baseball fan, and I could not get him to step away from the TV for one episode. So instead, we have my friend Devon calling in from all the way from Los Angeles. So this is a cross-country podcast today. So, hey Devon, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me, Alan.
Hey, no problem. We've been talking about getting you on here for a while, and it's finally worked out.
I know. I'm happy it has too. I'm so excited for this one.
So yeah, today we're going to talk about. Well, there's a few reasons I have Devon on the show today. I really want to do a podcast on this movie that we're talking about, and Ryan hasn't read the book and he hasn't seen the movie. I'm guessing you could tell by the title. Today we're talking about Ready Player One, and Devon has both read the book and seen the movie. So him and I are on the same boat, and we both have opinions on this. Isn't that right, Devon?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I actually ended up reading the book 2 times through. Once because I was so interested in it, and then the second time literally in preparation for the movie. So I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, same here. I reread it like last week. And by reread it, I mean Will Wheaton read it to me on Audible. Because
the sweet tenor of Will Wheaton.
A little bit of backstory on Devon and I. We've known each other. I was thinking about this earlier. We've known each other for it's been over a decade.
Oh, has it really?
It's been about 15 years that we've known each other, all the way back to middle school.
Oh, man. Yeah, you're right.
Bus 15.
Oh, man. Yep, Miss Graham.
Miss Graham, marching band.
Oh, man. Wow, stuff I haven't thought about in a long time.
Yeah, and you're one of like the few people I still talk to from high school.
I mean, knowing the people who went to high school with, understandable.
Yeah. But if any of them are listening to this, hi, thanks for listening.
Hey, thanks everyone.
We're definitely not talking about you.
No, the other people.
You listen to the show, so
you were the cool ones.
But yeah, so we were in marching band together and stayed friends through college and all of that. So, and you just recently moved to LA. How do you like it?
Yeah. Oh, I love it out here. Speaking of our relationship, I think I had a little, kind of a small part in your wedding, right?
Oh yeah, you were my best man.
Yeah, something like that.
Man, that was a fun time.
Oh, that was awesome. Oh, what a good wedding.
Yeah. So I think you're officially in LA now that you are on a podcast.
I am.
So,
I think that's what it means. I think that's part of I think you need that before you actually get your license here. It's how many podcasts were you on, and if it's greater or less than 1, they don't let you in.
Yeah. Well, anything I can do to help the cause.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Enough about us. Let's talk about Steven Spielberg. All right. So we're going to start off the podcast trying to avoid spoilers. We're not going to give anything major away. We're just going to talk about a little bit about what we thought of the film overall. Devon, you want to start us off?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as a film, I thought it was really great. I kind of struggle sometimes between whether or not I would like it more if I didn't read the book, mostly because I knew what was going to happen, and a lot of the time I was kind of picking out little differences between the book and the movie going, oh, it's neat they did that, or oh, I wish they had done that. But I think just as a movie in and of itself, without the book, it was awesome. I mean, I'm one of those people that really likes a lot of in-jokes, and I like a lot of, callbacks to a lot of stuff that I like. And I mean, that's really what this movie was. This movie was a gigantic, hey, remember that thing? Hey, did you see that thing? Hey, here's a video game you probably know. And that's right up my alley, so I really, really liked that. Yeah,
Spielberg really made it. I saw in an interview, he wanted to make a movie that people who don't play video games would still enjoy, and he really did that. I don't think you need to read the book to see the movie. I think it helps in parts, but they do change a lot. The main goal of the story is to find these 3 keys, and the way they go about finding the keys in the book compared to the movie are different for all 3. And I think they needed to do that for the movie. And we'll get into details on that later. But I think the way they adapted it made it like when I was reading the book, I didn't understand how this could be a movie, yet alone directed by Spielberg. Nothing about the book jumped out at me and said, this would make a great Spielberg movie. And nothing about the film really sticks out to me saying, this is a great Spielberg movie. It's good, but I don't really see Spielberg's influence on it. It feels more like a Zemeckis movie. Does that make sense?
It does, and I can almost see where they might be. I mean, almost what they might be going for there, though, because I mean, Zemeckis played a big part in the movie too.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
because you have the DeLorean.
Well, and they had the Zemeckis cube, and they had those probably spoilers, but
yeah,
they had had that, and
we'll get to that because I have thoughts on the Zemeckis cube.
Good, I'm so excited.
But I feel like this movie did a really good job of building the world, not only of the OASIS, which is the VR video game that they're playing, but also the real world and what's happened to society and the stacks with tractor trailers stacked on top of each other like skyscrapers. It all felt real, and you could tell like there was a big difference between reality and the OASIS.
Well, I mean, even taking it, I mean, maybe a step farther, I don't know if you've ever seen Black Mirror or anything like that.
Yes.
But it reminded me a little bit of that, where it's technology that we currently have taken one step farther and how it could be, I mean, used to either improve or completely ruin people's lives. And I think that was one of the things that kind of drew me not only to the book but to the movie too so much, was I really like that Black Mirror, like, hey, this technology's almost there kind of thing. And that's really what they did well here.
Yeah, I can definitely see the OASIS having an OASIS type thing that's easier access for everyone. Because right now you can buy a VR headset for a few $100 for your PlayStation or computer. But I think in the near future, it's going to be cheaper.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't know how hard they hit this in the movie, but at least in the book, I think the cost of an OASIS rig in the book was 25 cents. And that's why you saw all of these people from all walks of life have these, I mean, seemingly expensive like technology, or have all this technology like in their homes.
Yeah.
Is because this stuff was so cheap and so accessible. And I know that, you know, as a society, I think we're trying to get internet access and more technology available to more people regardless of income level. So it's kind of like just real life, but like 2 steps farther almost.
Yeah. Visually, like I said before, that this didn't really feel like a Spielberg movie. And it does in parts, but I feel like this is something that needs to be seen on the big screen if you want to see this. And I saw it in 3D, and I highly recommend a 3D for this.
I didn't actually see it in 3D. Was it good?
Was
it well done 3D, or was it a lot of like poking at you?
The OASIS stuff was really good. It's not like in your face like Spy Kids 3D. Here's a Stallone throwing things at you. It's just like adds depth, and it reminded me a lot of like when I saw Avatar in 3D. Like that's the big one that people say this is the best 3D ever. It reminded me a lot of that. And when Avatar came out, there was this whole thing about people being upset that Pandora wasn't real and like going through withdrawal after seeing the movie and being upset that they couldn't live on Pandora. I wanted to be in the OASIS after I saw this. Like
me too.
I went into the theater and it was kind of surreal because I went into the theater and there was snow on the ground because we got a snowstorm the night before. And
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Gotta love it. I go into the theater. I come out. All the snow's gone. So it's kind of weird. Like, is this reality? Like, is this the real life or is this just fantasy? Like, I don't know what's going on and why am I quoting Queen?
Oh, I kind of love that though. I mean, and I'm the same way though. I mean, they did such a good job of making the OASIS a solid place.
Yeah.
Like a place that had very definable rules, it had very definable characteristics, and like a place you wanted to live in and wanted to go to.
Yeah. And they didn't have to get into all of the rules of the OASIS that they get into in the book. But
definitely.
They did a good job of establishing it and letting you know what you needed to know instead of all the extra filler about all the history and the 25 cents for the headsets and
right. And like there's like a whole like subplot in the book where like every one of the main characters has their own TV channel and like they run things and they all own planets and stuff. Like you didn't need any of that really to still get the point across what this was and how popular those people were.
Yeah, the biggest, I don't think this is really much of a spoiler. The biggest difference between the movie and the book is the movie is more Wade centric. Like, it's all about Wade. You follow him on his own throughout the whole movie, and he's on this quest alone, and he pisses about all of his, pretty much everyone off along the way.
Yeah.
In this, it's more of a team story. Like, they come together way sooner than they do in the book, which I feel like you needed to do for the movie. Because if you,
I absolutely agree. And they gave everyone else so many more things to do too. Like,
they really
everyone
did.
Yeah.
And I, when we get into spoilers, I'll say what I liked and what I didn't like about that, because I, again, have some thoughts.
Yeah, I got some thoughts too there. I'm excited for the spoiler part.
Another issue, that one of the issues that I have with this, and I knew going into it I'd have this issue, is with the Easter eggs. Every pop culture reference that they have in this, with the exception of a few, is like, hey, what does Warner Brothers have the rights to that we can put in this movie?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they have to pull from somewhere though.
Yeah. And it's just like, okay, I was worried that the DC stuff would be a lot heavier than it was. And you still get Batman and Harley Quinn and Joker in there. But it's nowhere near as bad as I expected it to be.
No, it really wasn't too bad. I mean, I actually didn't go into it thinking that, and now that you said it, I'm like, oh yeah, I totally should have expected nothing but Warner Brothers. But you're right, it wasn't as bad as I thought, and it didn't seem like they were trying to use it as an advertisement for something else. It didn't feel like they were like, hey, here's Warner Brothers' next big movie. These two references are going to be big.
Yeah. It's not like they shoehorned in mustacheless Henry Cavill.
I would have loved that. Oh, that would have made it so much better.
All right,
too.
so overall, I recommend seeing this movie, even if you haven't read the book. I also really recommend the book. What do you think?
I'm exactly the same way. I recommend seeing it. I actually recommend, I think, seeing the movie first, and then if you like the world and wish you knew more about it, I recommend reading the book.
Yeah.
I think that's the order that I would do it in.
Yeah, I think I agree too. There's a lot more to like about the movie than, like, if you don't know, like, I feel like the movie's a good jumping off point, and then go in and get a deeper dive with the book, because it's completely different.
It is. And even the references are, I mean, like you said, mostly Warner Brothers in the movie, but the book is a whole completely different set of references too.
Yeah. And on that note, I think we're going to get into spoilers. So if you don't want to know details about this movie, if you haven't seen it yet, now's the point to turn off the podcast and come back after you see the movie. And
Thanks
read
for
the
listening
book.
so far, though.
Yeah. So now that we got rid of anyone who doesn't want to hear spoilers, let's talk about the fact that they did not kill Shoto.
Yeah, that was the one change I didn't like at all, actually.
Yeah. I don't like. I wanted him to, like. I know they had to bring everyone together, and I get that, but there's no reason he couldn't. He should have had to sacrifice himself at some point in there, like with them being attacked and chased and.
Well, and there was even a point where Daito looked really sad about like having to go like fight someone, and like in the book that was because he was doing it for Shoto. And in the movie, I'm like, I guess he's just sad right now. Like, yeah. I'm not sure why he's sad. And like, it made IOI in the book much more of an intimidating thing and really ratcheted up the danger that everyone else was feeling.
Yeah. I feel like they could have easily, like, it sucks if they would have gone this way, but they could have killed him off camera like they did in the book. Like, you just find out later, like he shows up with H and he says, oh no, Shoto died. Like, they killed him. Like,
well, is it because they didn't make Shoto like in OASIS much of a character though? Because I feel like he was more of a character in the book.
Yeah.
Like they had a lot of meetings, they talked a lot. You got a sense of his personality in the OASIS, and then he just died, and then Daito is upset, and then you saw real Daito.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I get that they wanted to keep the high five together and for the end, which is good Hollywood ending. Spielberg-ness, but I would have much rather somebody actually sacrifice themselves.
Yeah,
Because
and I mean,
the only real death you have in this is Aunt Alice and her boyfriend, and I don't care about
yeah,
them at all. Like they're not sympathetic characters.
right, and
That
they're not supposed to be. Like,
yeah
I mean, it sucks they're dead, but I mean, he didn't like them either.
yeah. Even his neighbor lived, and in the book, like that's a big thing. Like her death is like what hurts him the most, but she lives by the end of it. Like she comes out and says, "Oh, we know exactly who you are, Mr. Sorrento."
Yeah, it was like, why? Like, why was he the person that like, or why was she the one that like showed up and had to say that at the
And
end?
how did she live? Like I don't understand. Like if that whole stack went, what was
Right.
she doing? Like
Yeah, I don't.
I'm just
Yeah,
morbidly curious about where was she when that blew up?
she had to have some sort of really awesome story about that. I'll
Yeah.
bet she does, and that's going to be like the Lion King 1.5 to this movie is her story.
Yeah, it's just a short on the Blu-ray.
It's just what she was doing. Oh, I want that.
Takes another 2 years for Spielberg to make. Another thing that I think's I'm just looking at my notes here.
Sure.
Um, I feel like the love story between Percival and Artemis was suffered because of the movie. And it's not a strong love story to begin with in the book, but I feel like it's a lot more rushed in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, in the book, you have a lot of the like they get together, and then like you have a lot of different dynamics in the relationship where like they find out that they're pretty compatible, but then oh, but we're online, this could never work out, and there's a lot of like ebb and flow to the relationship, and in this one, it's like there's maybe 5 minutes of her going, we're online, I could be anyone. Oh, by the way, I'm here in real life, so it doesn't matter. Like there isn't much. I mean, and part of it is you have to adapt a book to a movie, and that time frame has to be like squash, but it didn't feel like as natural of a fit, I thought.
Yeah. Um, and then another thing is like they work together a lot more in this. And I guess if you're building that team dynamic, like you want them working together on the puzzles, like on trying to find the Easter egg. But what I liked about the book was everyone's out for themselves and they're keeping the secrets.
Right. And like that's the thing is even when the after the first trial where he was like, yeah, I told H but made him promise to keep a secret, like a second later everyone's telling everyone everything and it doesn't
Yeah.
matter, and then they all kind of unanimously decide that like that Wade needs to be the one to win all of this because Wade.
Yeah.
Like and you're right with the team dynamic, but they like the whole book they kept going, we're not a clan, we're not a clan, we're not a clan, and at the end he's like, this is my clan, and then like the music swelled and I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Now, as far as my favorite change that they made from the book to the movie is the diaries.
The diaries.
The journals with the museum that they go to instead of him just having a
Oh
book.
yeah, that was a really good idea.
Yeah, I really liked how they did that because it's really hard for him to just be like a lot of the references in the book are just him in narration talking about, oh yeah, he liked this movie and he played this video game. But here you can
Right.
actually go back and visit every moment of his life, which is weird as fuck. But
Yeah, but it's so cool, and like they can examine it from different angles, and they like saw people's reactions to things, and I really liked that.
and then at the end of it, that gave you the great reveal of Og being the curator for all of that.
Yep.
Because one of my
Yep.
favorite
And that was
one of my favorite parts of the book is the fact that he's been watching them the whole time and he's just like invisible, and it's kind of out of nowhere, but in the movie it makes a
Yeah.
lot more sense for him to be the curator who gives him the extra life token, which is another
Right,
thing
and
I liked.
actually really got mad at the curator for a second because there was a part where like Wade found something out and I forget what it was, but then the curator seemed incredulous and was like, "What?" I'm like, "You're a robot. Stop having emotions to things."
Yeah.
But like that really worked well, and I know that's what they were going for, and I know I fell right into it, but like I'm so happy they did that.
Yeah. um
But no, back to that coin. I really like what you said. I really like the way they got it in this a little better because in the book, for those of you that don't know, he just plays a perfect game of Pac-Man, and like not that that's an easy thing, but that doesn't show well on the screen at all.
yeah, there was no way to actually do that on the big screen and make it interesting.
Well, I mean, they did the adventure thing at the end, which I really liked because that was basically how like most of the challenges went in the book. Like the first challenge, wasn't it like he walked through a D&D map and then at the end of it had to play joust against a knight.
Yeah,
And like that was it. Like that's cool in book form, but like that doesn't show well at all on the screen. Like
it
I don't want to
really
watch two
doesn't.
people play. Yeah. So I
Um,
really liked what they did
yeah,
with it.
that and the whole reenacting full length feature films. Like if he would have, like I when I read the book, I was like, how the hell they can do the war games thing? Like I don't know how that's going to
Right.
happen because you don't like you're not going to be able to do a whole montage of him just quoting lines from war games
Right.
or Monty
Although I was
Python.
excited. I did really want Matthew Broderick to come back though.
I did
Like
too.
I wanted him to be
I
in this
ki-
movie. That
I-
that would have made me happy.
First thing I said to my wife, because she read the book too, and she was really excited to see them do war games because she likes that movie. I was like,
Yeah.
you don't want to see the movie. She's like, they cut war games, didn't they? I was like, yep.
She just caught on right away.
Yeah, she knew exactly what I was talking about. But how did you feel about The Shining?
I loved it. That is a haunted house I want to go to. Like they set it up like it's this like crazy haunted house you got to walk through. I love it. Like I
Yeah.
thought it was so cool.
Yeah, I really liked the way they went about that, and then I really identified with H there because I've never seen The Shining either. I know enough about it that I expected the blood to be coming out of the elevator,
Yeah.
but they just go in clueless, and it's like I don't know we can't go in that room. Like, don't go in that room. Like,
Well, oh my gosh, I don't know what kind of like what the crowd was like when you saw it, but the movie theater that I saw it in, the crowd lost their mind for those parts. Like when H was like, "Oh, try this elevator," the whole audience was just like dying laughing because they knew what was going to happen to him. And then when he like wandered into the room, like everyone knew what was going to be behind the bathtub and in the curtain, and like it was honestly it was the part that got the biggest laughs in the whole movie from the audience I saw it with.
the crowd that I saw the movie with was 3 other people because I saw it at 1:30 on a Monday afternoon.
Okay.
So if anyone was laughing, I was far enough away that I couldn't hear them.
Aw.
But I laughed at parts. Like I was
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
laughing. I think my biggest laugh was when they threw the Chucky doll at the
Oh my
at
gosh,
the
yes.
Sixer, and then he just takes off his headset. Fucking Chucky doll.
I know. And that was their fuck word, right? Like that was the one time they got to say it in the movie, right?
Yep, that was the one.
It was such a good use of it. Like, oh, that was a good part. I liked a lot during that scene too. You brought up like how they would show all of the Sixers like dying because of what's happening in the game, and like I
Yeah.
just thought that was so cool. Where they just reinforced that whole like video game versus like real life kind of thing, and I feel like the book didn't do that as well.
Yeah, I really liked how they, like, with Artemis going into IOI. I liked how they
Yeah.
took the elements of the book where it's Parsifal that goes in,
Yeah.
and they switched it around to make it more visual and had her be able to break out and help them from the inside. And
Well,
I-
I love that it was her going into IOI too, because I mean, even in the book, her dad died at one of those centers, and like that's part of her character's backstory, so she can be like understandably afraid and apprehensive and nervous to be in that. And in the book, she's like, "My dad died in one of those centers," and Wade went, "Neat, I'm going," and like that was it.
yeah, that always, like, even rereading the book, I was like, why is he doing this again? Like, this seems
Yeah.
like a bad idea, and it works out in the end. But that's how it was written. So,
Yeah. They like Ocean's 11 did, where it's like, why are they doing this? Oh.
yeah. Looking at my notes.
So can we talk about if you don't have anything on your notes, quick,
Sure.
the race in the beginning. So I really like that they changed the first trial to be like a more visually stunning thing, and I love the race. I think the
Yeah.
race is really cool.
Okay.
I don't know if I really am in love with the idea that it was a race that no one could beat for 6 years. I don't know how I believable I find that, because 6 years is a really long time, especially if you're talking about people who like this is what they do every day. And IOI's been doing that every day too. Like I don't know if I can believe that no one beat it in 6 years.
What I didn't like about it was the portal to it just showed up out of nowhere,
Yeah.
They never explain who started it. I'm assuming it was Og,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like my biggest problem with it is actually I don't think it was there for the whole 5 or 6 years. I think it was more recent.
Oh, did it show up? Okay.
I think it went a lot. Like I think he says something about it going 5 years without any progress, and then this portal showed up. So it might be only be a few months.
That's
but,
a little better for me then,
yeah.
because like, yeah, for some reason I just took it as like, oh, 6 years went by and no one could beat a race. Come on.
What I don't like is how easy it was to actually beat.
Yeah.
You just got to go backwards. Like I guess that's more difficult than they made it seem, but it looked like the track was kind of, oh yeah, you're not gonna run off the track at all. Like you just gotta hit it in reverse and you're good.
Yeah, and it's basically a carnival ride at that point.
Yeah.
Although, as a huge fan of like, dark rides in general, I mean, it's not a stretch as to why we moved so close to Disneyland. I really loved the idea of like seeing the elements of the ride like rise up and like getting like the behind the scenes peek of something you've already seen. I thought that element of it was really neat.
I really liked that too. That was probably my favorite part of that challenge was just him going underneath, and of course he's in the DeLorean. So
well, right, and that's it's so good.
I'm glad they did not touch the DeLorean. That is the way it was in the book.
Right, and and it was so good that they had that. I mean, he didn't get it until like what, a fourth of the way through the book though, but I like that he just had it in this.
Yeah.
Like it made it seem like more of like a choice he's always made.
Yeah, because I think it's implied that he gets more money. He has more money in the OASIS in the movie because he keeps like falling behind the people who die in the race.
Right.
And just collects all the coin.
Yeah, they brought up his I'm not very rich a little bit in the beginning where he's like, I don't got gas or money, and then he just gets it. Yeah. And it doesn't seem like as much of a limiting factor as it does in the book, and that's okay. Like, yeah. I feel like his character development in the movie wouldn't have been any better had you known he started off very poor.
Yeah.
In the OASIS.
Okay, so that's the first challenge. We already talked about the second challenge. We talked a bit about the third. We pretty much covered the challenges. Let's talk a little bit about James Holliday.
Okay.
In your opinion, is he more George Lucas or Garth from Wayne's World? Because I'm torn.
I never made that connection before, but now that you say it, he's just Garth from Wayne's World. Okay. Like, that's what I'm getting there.
I can definitely see where people are getting the comparisons to George Lucas because he is really soft-spoken like that.
Yeah.
And I can definitely see Spielberg being like, hey, I know this guy. Not saying you should do it this way because you're an Oscar-nominated actor. I mean, he might have won. But, hey, here's some tapes of George Lucas. Because the parallels between Holliday and George Lucas, like the creator of this massive thing that everyone loves and becomes such a part of everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can definitely see that.
Right, and especially something that's kind of grown up a little bit beyond what he made it to be, too.
Yeah. But at the same time, that hair and the clothing style, it's Garth.
It's just Garth, yeah. They're like dressed like this. I mean, I like it because, I mean, the character is very much grounded in that time period. Like, that's what he was obsessed with, which is awesome. Like, and that was absolutely the right choice to go costume-wise, I thought.
Yeah. All right. So I mentioned before I had issues with the Zemeckis cube.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
Okay. So I feel like I enjoy the Zemeckis cube for what it is. I like the reference. I don't really know why you made it a Rubik's cube, but okay.
Yeah.
My problem with it is that was a prime opportunity to make a reference to Galaxy Quest, and you didn't take it.
Really? I never thought about that.
The Omega 13. Why not just make it the Omega 13? And then some people might be like, what's the Omega 13?
But then the people that get it are going to love it.
Yeah. And then you know that that's going to happen because the Zemeckis cube, like you figure, oh, it might have something to do with time travel. It also might have something to do with a feather floating in the air and going through all the different events of American history.
Right.
You don't know, but like if you made it the Omega 13, which was produced by DreamWorks, which Spielberg has a stake in, like I don't know why you don't make that reference. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it was just a missed opportunity. And by Balthazar's hammer, they shall be avenged.
That I never even thought about that. I mean, in defense of the Zemeckis cube, I really, really liked how when they used it, they had the Back to the Future like little tinkling music in the background.
Yeah,
That part was cool.
I liked how they used that in the marketing as well.
Yeah.
Because it's Alan Silvestri doing the music,
Oh.
which is weird because this is one of 3 movies that Spielberg's done that wasn't scored by John Williams.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if I knew that.
I think he was too busy with The Post, but not Star Wars. Star Wars didn't keep him busy at all. They're saying it was The Post. I think it was probably a combination of The Post and Star Wars that he couldn't do this one.
I'm sure.
But
That's
yeah,
interesting, though.
but Silvestri is like up there, like pretty much the same, which is kind of why it made me. That's why it made it feel like a Zemeckis movie more than Spielberg to me.
I mean, I can definitely see that. I don't think I know enough about Zemeckis movies in general to be like, it's a Zemeckis movie.
Yeah. All right.
I just know that it was a Spielberg movie, and then a T-Rex showed up, and I went.
Yeah. The other thing that I don't like about Spielberg directing this is you miss out on so many references from the 80s because Spielberg is the 80s. Like you've got E.T., you've got the DeLorean, which they kept, but you've got the T-Rex from Jurassic Park. They snuck in some gremlins behind Spielberg's back, but there's so much that they didn't touch that they could have. You've got Jaws could have been in there. You could have had Close Encounters spaceships. Like there's so much that you could have had that you just didn't tap.
I mean, that's a good point. I never really thought about it that way. I think I kind of took I'm just so appreciative of all of these references that I'm seeing right now. And like, I mean, you're right. I mean, most of what they would have thrown in there would have been more 80s references.
Yeah.
Especially in relation to like Halliday and what he was doing.
Yeah. So speaking of references, I gave you several homework assignments.
You did.
The first one was make a list of all the different Easter egg cameos that you caught in the movie. So I figured what we would do, because I have a list here as well. I figured you'd say one and I'll say one, and we'll kind of go back and forth and see what all we came up with and talk about it a little bit. So what's the first one on your list?
Jason Voorhees.
Okay.
Yep.
I did not have that one. Where was he?
Oh, he was on Planet Doom when they were fighting. Somebody like shot him or pulled him apart or something.
Okay. Cool. My first one's Batman because you get the opening. This is the Oasis, and you can go climb Mount Everest with Batman.
Yep.
Which is, I don't know if I'd go with Batman. Like I wouldn't climb Mount Everest with Batman. Like that's just weird. Like who does that?
I mean, it's a good. I mean, yeah.
I would jump off of Mount Everest with Batman and glide down. Like I would do that in a heartbeat.
You and Batman have to get up there. Maybe that was the preamble. Maybe you have to climb it to jump off it with him.
I guess. All right, what else do you got?
I saw Freddy Krueger.
Of course, if you got Jason in there, you got to have Freddy because
you get Freddy.
They're peas in a pod now.
Oh yeah.
Another one I had from the opening was Minecraft.
Oh yeah, Minecraft was in the opening. I forgot about that.
That was a little much for me. Like, okay, I get that there's going to be a Minecraft world, and I guess you're catering this part to the 8-year-olds who are seeing the movie. But I was like, come on, really? You're going to lead off with Minecraft? That's the first thing you see when you go into the Oasis is Minecraft? Like, make it, like, if you're going to go video game reference, I guess that's the one to go to. But why not something like Mario? Like, show, like, the Mushroom Kingdom or different things, like maybe Crash Bandicoot, or I know this is more recent, but the island from Fortnite. Do something like that. Right. Make it a little bit different instead of just Minecraft.
I mean, I don't know why, but whenever they showed Minecraft, I got a little bit of like PTSD from the Emoji Movie when they showed up in Just Dance.
That's what it reminded me of. Did you see the Emoji Movie?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
I saw more of it than I should have. And for some reason just reminded me of when they showed up there, where it was like, "Hey kids, this is a thing you do. Look at it."
Yeah, that's exactly what it made me feel like too. Because I saw
Yeah.
a trailer for the Emoji Movie on a Blu-ray the other day, and I was like, ugh.
Did you see the Emoji Movie?
I did not. But we watched the trailer for it in front of Jumanji on Blu-ray, the
Good.
rock one, and
Yeah.
we were watching with my father-in-law, and he's like, "What is this?" He's like, "It's the Emoji Movie." Oh,
Oh.
well, there's not really a poop emoji, is there?
Oh no.
And we're like, "Yeah, there is."
And who's it played by?
Patrick Stewart.
Oh,
And then
man.
he's like, "That's not a real thing." And then Anna showed him on her phone, like, "No,
Yeah.
it's a real thing. It's right there." He's like, "Who would send that to their friends? Like, that is so weird." Yeah. And then I said to him, I was like, "Yeah, it's a really shitty thing to do." And he
Oh.
lost it. He's like, "Careful now." I was so proud of that joke that
You
I had
should
to
be.
bring it up. Okay,
That's
what
amazing.
else do you got?
I mean, obviously, I saw King Kong.
Yes.
You literally can't miss him. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm happy he was there.
Yeah, I mean, for a New York setting, it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, he acted a little bit like Donkey Kong in like the old style Mario games, where
Yeah.
like he was the one blocking the very end of it, and I thought that was cool. I like how they used him there.
Yeah, I mean, Kong's a Kong.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, another one I had was Harley Quinn and the Joker.
Yep, got those two as well. I mean, they were a little gratuitous, if
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest.
I mean, Harley Quinn was there much longer than the Joker. I
Yeah,
still like the Joker in this more than I like Jared Leto.
he was totally modeled after Jared Leto, though, right?
Yeah, but he didn't say anything, which is better.
Oh, I didn't hate Jared Leto's Joker that much.
I didn't hate him. I like his Joker more than I like the one on Gotham.
I haven't seen Gotham.
The one on Gotham is just doing a Heath Ledger impression, and it pisses me off.
Oh, that would make me sad too. Yeah, I wouldn't
Because
like that.
people say, "Oh, he's the best Joker." No, he's not. One, Mark Hamill's the best Joker, and two, this guy's not even doing his own Joker. He's just doing Heath Ledger.
Yeah, yeah.
And-
I mean, that's right.
So, but we're not talking about Gotham. We're talking about
Did you figure what we're talking about?
no. My wife's texting me at the same time. So,
Oh,
okay,
gotcha.
what do you got?
The next one we talked about already. T-Rex
Yes.
had to be in there.
Yep. I mean, life finds a way. All right. RoboCop.
RoboCop, where is he?
Love me some RoboCop. When he's first entering the OASIS,
Oh,
in the little weight room area, like when everyone first gets out, RoboCop is blink and you miss him.
oh wow, that's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, RoboCop's one of those movies that if it's on TV, I will stop and watch it. If it's one or two, three, not so much, but one and two, no matter where it is in the movie, I will watch it.
It's still on my list of movies I gotta watch.
I'd buy it for $1.
Ooh.
That's a RoboCop reference. If you haven't seen it, you're not going to get that.
Yeah, that's why I
Okay,
didn't
what
see
else do you got?
I got Tracer from Overwatch. She showed up like 3 times in the movie.
Yeah, there are a bunch of Overwatch references, which makes me wonder. Like I just kept seeing characters like, oh, they look like they're from Overwatch.
Yeah,
And I haven't played enough Overwatch to know who's who,
sure.
but I was like, okay, so I guess Warner Brothers has the rights to Overwatch, so maybe that means we're getting a movie in the future.
I mean, I'd be down for that.
Yeah. Another one I saw that I hope we don't get a movie of in the future is Hello Kitty.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Hello Kitty.
And I think she's walking by with somebody else, but I can't remember who.
Yeah, there's like a pack of 3 of them. I remember what you're
Yeah.
talking about though.
One looked like a minion, but I don't think it was a minion.
Oh, it might not have been. I don't know. I forget.
Or what else you got?
I got Goro from Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat in general because Mortal Kombat's like all over that movie.
Yeah. In the vein of video games, there was a shit ton of Master Chiefs.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like a gaggle of Master Chiefs just going into the final battle.
Well, even in that store, they had like a whole Halo aisle in the store.
I love that story. We're going to get into that here in a bit.
Oh, good, because one of my references was from that store too.
Okay.
There's a Borderlands section in the store where
Oh, is
Claptrap
there?
is in front.
I
Yeah.
did not see that.
My wife actually caught that. Romano
nice.
afterwards was like, "Did you catch Claptrap?" I'm like, "No, I missed it."
Nice.
Yeah.
Um, now I can't say for sure that I saw this, but I'm
Okay.
pretty sure I saw this. Pretty sure I saw a street shark in there,
Oh man.
which is a
See,
very deep pool, but I'm not 100% sure.
I would be so happy if there was really street sharks in there though. Like I want to know. Like you and I were talking a little bit earlier about this, how you want to just watch the movie like frame by frame. I
Yeah.
really want to do that too.
Because when you're in the Oasis, almost every frame can be taken out of the movie, put in an actual frame, and hung on the wall.
Oh,
And,
absolutely.
like as a puzzle, like, hey, see how many things you can find.
Hmm.
And it's crazy because there's so much there, and I'm waiting for the list of every single thing that's in this movie, which is probably just at the end credits. But
It's true though, and I'm sure they exist online somewhere. I didn't want to look them up for this. I wanted to like
Yeah.
actually remember them.
yeah, what else do you got?
I found Battletoads. They were in there a couple times.
Yeah,
In like the last fight scene, I saw them a whole bunch doing stuff. That was pretty cool.
I like the cameo of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yep, I had them on my list too. And they
Yeah.
were the Michael Bay ones, right?
Yeah, which I guess is okay. I'll accept it.
I mean, there have been worse iterations.
Yeah, I mean, if you're already doing the CG versions of it, why not?
Right.
And
I found Laura Croft.
I did not see that one.
It was real quick by Tracer once. I think she's even in some of the promo stuff, like in the background. But like, I saw like old style Laura, and I'm like, oh, hey, look who that is.
Yeah. And I only have two more that are pretty obvious. Iron Giant, obviously,
Oh yeah.
kind of just in your face. How did you feel about the use of the Iron Giant?
It was interesting. I liked the idea in the book a lot, where in the book everyone had a giant robot, and someone picked the Iron Giant, and that's awesome. In this one, honestly, I think it did a lot to help H's character development a little better than in the book, because in the book, like H's whole character was I'm Wade's friend, and that was it. And in
Yeah.
this one, like H built the Iron Giant, like she had something to do and had like a very specific set of skills that no one else had. And actually, you know what? Now that I talk about it, I liked it. What about you?
This is coming from somebody who hasn't seen the Iron Giant, but I know enough about it. Isn't the point of the Iron Giant is that he doesn't want to fight, that he's not a weapon?
Yep, and I was really hoping you'd go there because absolutely.
Because it completely contradicts what the Iron Giant stands for.
Oh yeah, I mean it was strictly nostalgia pandering. Like
Yeah.
it was, hey, look at this.
Yeah. And so I don't like it from that point of view. I
Mhm.
like that he builds it, and I like that in the end his biggest use in the final battle isn't as a weapon but as a bridge.
Yep. I mean, and that one plays to the character a little bit too.
Yeah. But yeah, anything else you got?
Yeah, I got two more. One of them was Chun-Li. Hers was she did a pretty gratuitous cameo in there from Street Fighter.
Okay.
She was like fighting somewhere. And my last one is, and I'm in debate as to what I saw, but it was a big bird with someone riding on top of it going into battle. Now, my nerdy self wants to go, oh, that is a chocobo from Final Fantasy. But they bring up Joust a lot in the book, and it never really gets mentioned here. I'll bet you it's a Joust reference, and that was like the Joust character.
It might be. They do.
And
There is a poster of Joust at the very end when he's speaking to Halliday.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. When he shows up in Holliday's childhood room, there's a Joust poster, which I thought was a really good way of acknowledging the book.
Yeah, because they go to Halliday's room plays a really big part in the book, and in the end, she's like, "Hey, this is where we are."
Yeah. And then of course Mechagodzilla,
Oh yeah, Mechagodzilla.
which I'm glad they kept in because that's a big
Yeah.
part of the book.
Well, so the one thing that I was kind of happy that they did, now that we're kind of on that part, is I'm kind of happy that they updated everyone's mechs to like
Mhm.
mechs that most people would understand. Like Wade ends up choosing Spider-Man, or he ends up choosing Leopardon, which is Spider-Man's mech, which
Yeah.
I honestly wouldn't have known without this book. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know Japanese deep cut TV shows that well, so I don't know if I would have gotten that.
Yeah, that would have been like even the Shogun that they bring in at the end is a deep pull.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like I don't really know what that is. I know it's a thing. I just don't know what it is.
Right. And I mean, I'm happy that they brought in some more well-known references for people like nowadays, which was pretty nice.
Yeah. All right, so that's it for my list.
Yep, that's all my list too.
Okay, now we're gonna go on to part 2 of our homework. This is the fun part. All right, so what I had Devin do after seeing the movie is we each came up with, because each character in the movie has their own vehicle, a giant robot, a costume, and a weapon. So we each came up with a list of what ours would be if we were in the Oasis. So Devin, you go first. What was your vehicle?
All right, so my vehicle is the Homer from The Simpsons.
God damn it, you motherfucker.
Was that yours?
Okay, so originally I had put down the Batman Forever Batmobile,
Yes.
but then I was like, no, I'm going to change it to the Homer
Oh no.
with the Batman Forever wheel decals.
Oh, I love that.
But go ahead, keep going. Like,
All right. So, and I kind of took this a little far and have a couple of weapons. So my main weapon is a gun blade from Final Fantasy VIII because it's a gun and a sword because why not? And you'd like the Zemeckis cube, I came up with the Bay grenade. And what it does is it makes a lot of mostly useless explosions.
that's fantastic.
My giant robot is Gigantor, which, despite me saying, "Oh, I don't know much about Japanese deep cut stuff," that's a Japanese pretty deep cut. He was a 70s or 80s cartoon.
Okay.
And then I kind of went overboard on my costume.
Okay.
I got really excited. So, so he's wearing a zoot suit from The Mask, that nice yellow zoot suit.
I kid you not. I almost put that too.
Did you really?
I did, yeah. There's why we're friends.
Oh, absolutely. His head is Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum's head. He's wearing a deep V with David Hasselhoff's chest hair, and he's wearing glasses that are Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys. And
Nice.
His name in the Oasis would have been John Swanson, Ron Swanson's brother.
Nice.
So
Okay.
that's the character. I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm excited for yours.
Okay. So, taking the Homer away from mine because you've got the Homer. I've got the Batman Forever Batmobile
Nice.
with a flux capacitor because I want that Back to the Future element.
Yep.
But instead of having Kit like Parsifal does,
Mhm.
I've got Jarvis.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And Jarvis would be my AI interaction. Like in the book, it's Max Headroom.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot he had that.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a good one.
My weapons would
Mhm.
be the White Ranger's sword Saba
Ooh,
and Captain America's shield.
nice.
Because
nice.
you got to have the sword and the shield.
Oh, yeah.
And in that vein, my giant robot would be the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Megazord.
Yes. Good choice.
And all variations of that Megazord, so you can bring in the Dragon Zord and build on it, and Tyrannus, whatever the hell I need, like full access to all the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers stuff. Then my costume, I didn't go as in depth with you, but as you did. But I've got the Star-Lord jacket, like just pretty much the Star-Lord get up, but instead of Star-Lord's bag, I've got Jack Bauer's satchel.
Oh man, the big man purse.
Yeah, and
Yes.
Men in Black glasses.
Very cool.
I didn't
like
write that down, but I'm adding that. So,
Good. Oh, I really like that.
and then I didn't really come up with an avatar name.
Well, see, I realized when I was finding an avatar name, I wanted to be really clever about it, and I wanted to like find this like deep, cool reference in literature to like hunting or like eggs or egg hunting or something.
Yeah.
And then I realized that real life me would either go for some off pop culture reference, would go for something like sarcastic, like your mom, or would just let the Oasis pick for me.
Yeah. Honestly, if I was going to go for one, I'd just go with my gamer tag, which I've been using now, which is Gone Solo.
Yep.
Like that's been my go-to since Battlefront 2 in 2005. So,
I mean, it's a solid gamer tag.
actually, no, I think it's from Battlefront 1. Damn.
No, you're right. So remember, you had me over to show me that.
Yeah.
Yep.
God,
We've been friends for a long time.
we really have. You need to get Battlefront 2 on Steam because the online servers are back up and it's amazing.
I have it on Steam. I need to just play it.
We should totally do that tonight.
I can't tonight, but
Well,
definitely
at some point in the
sometime.
near future.
Definitely.
All right. Anything else you got that you want to talk about Ready Player One related?
Let me think. Oh, I mean, so we're all right. So this kind of popped into my head as we were talking, but this kind of had, and this might not be any bearing on anything, but we talked about the challenges earlier. I really liked the challenges in the movie better than I did in the book because the challenges in the movie had to do with qualities of being a decent human being and all kind of centered around that. And the ones in the book kind of had to do with who's the biggest nerd here.
That is
And,
a
like,
very fair point.
Because, like, all of the ones are like, how well do you know the script for war games? Or, you know, how much of this Dungeons and Dragons map have you memorized? And in this one, it's all about taking the leap and kissing the girl and, you know what I mean? Like, being a good teammate, like those kinds of things. And I really liked that aspect of it. And I like that they made it more applicable.
Yeah, it's more of the Willy Wonka thing, like who gets the keys to the factory. Like it's the person who might have stole the fizzy lifted drinks, but at the end of the day, they didn't take the gum to, what's his name?
No, I'm still with you. I have no idea.
That's gonna drive me crazy. Oh, that's gonna drive me crazy. I'm gonna have.
his name.
Oh man, what the hell was his
Well,
name?
you're going to remember it in like an hour.
Yeah, I am, and then I'm just gonna cut it back in right here. Mr. Slugworth.
You do. I hope you do.
Yep.
And I hope it like sounds real awkward.
Yep. I'll just change my voice.
Yep.
I'll sound like one of the Harry Potter puppet pals. Dumbledore.
Yep. Oh God, please do that.
But yeah, I completely agree. Like it made it more personal, and it wasn't just a trivia contest, and because
Right.
the Sixers had the advantage of everyone being there to like talk in their ear and guide them through the stuff.
Right, and I feel like in the book, the Sixers should have known all this stuff first, because if they really have a team of essentially Wade, then they should figure it out first. But if the Sixers are all people that are the type of person that will like sacrifice the purity of a good game for, you know, getting a lot of money, then yeah, they're probably not going to have all of these qualities. And I really liked that idea of it. And I liked that he wasn't just looking for another version of himself. He was looking for a better version of himself.
Yeah.
Halliday was.
Yeah, I really like that too, because you even have that test of, wait, no, this is what you did to Og. I'm not gonna.
Right,
do it
exactly.
again.
Don't do this. And that wasn't in the book, was it?
No, I don't think it was.
Yeah, I don't think it was either. Yeah, I liked that part a lot.
I don't know if I've got anything else.
Yeah, I don't think I do either.
Devon, it's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hopefully, we'll do it again soon, and maybe we'll even get Ryan involved.
Oh, I hope so. That would be awesome.
Hopefully, sometime before the World Series ends. So, all right. So we're gonna sign off like we usually do. For you have to watch this podcast. I'm Alan,
And I'm Devon.
and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.